Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Ludwig, and I am a senior business leadership undergraduate here at the University of Dallas. And in partial requirements for the business practicum, I pursued an internship at a company called Black & Veatch Holding Company, and they are headquartered in Overland Park, Kansas. So a little bit about what you'll hear today is going to be a sort of detail or a high level of my internship over the summer. And I want to start you off with the drive for value proposition, which is basically part of the the Black & Veatch culture, and it is something that you hear at the beginning of every presentation, every project review meeting, any sort of meeting that you go to is going to start with the drive for value proposition, and it's going to end with the safety tip. So we're going to kind of follow that procedure in the spirit of Black & Veatch. I'll give you an overview for the company. I'll also talk to you about the telecom division, which is the division that I worked in, and I will introduce the finance team. Me working in the finance team, I worked in 4 different sections of finance on different projects. I will talk about other notable accomplishments that I achieved while I was there, and I will then end and conclude with a sort of lessons learned look back. So the drive for value today, since I have you teachers here, is going to be returning students' work in a timely manner. And I believe that you can increase the value at the University of Dallas if you do this. Focusing on the students' understanding is very important to return the students' work in a timely manner. It's important for students' knowledge of their current grades so that they can manage their time effectively, and it's helpful for your record keeping as well, and so you'll probably keep registrar happy. So that's the drive for value proposition. That's something that you're going to hear all the time at Black & Veatch, and it's basically just a little tidbit about how you can increase the value on a day-to-day individual level at the company. So a little bit about the firm. It is an engineering firm. They increase and drive the value of their company in over 5 different divisions of engineering services, and those are power, water, telecommunications, federal, and management consulting. The CEO is Lynn Rodman, and the CFO is Karen Daniels, and together they make the dynamic duo of the company and set the direction, they set the leadership and the vision for Black & Veatch. It's very much a global company. It's a part of their mission statement to sustain the quality of life around the world. So a lot of what they do is provide that infrastructure to sustain quality of life. And the way that I helped do that over the summer was through telecommunications infrastructure. Marty Travers is the division president, and their little motto is every deliverable on time as promised. And that's what they do in telecommunications. They do it very well. They're ranked number 1 for telecommunications infrastructure in the world, and they do it in 2 different branches. They do it over public networks and private networks. Public networks are basically your cell phone service providers. So chances are, if you have a cell phone in your pocket right now and you are actually indeed receiving coverage for it, chances are Black & Veatch provided the infrastructure, they provided engineering, the logistics, and maybe even the construction to build that tower and to get you the reception that you need. Private networks are usually municipalities or utility companies that are looking to improve their telecommunication infrastructures and they do these in ways that will help increase or decrease their response time and increase their system communications. It is all a part of building that communication infrastructure. Okay, so the telecom finance team is headed by Jackie Hansen, and she was actually my supervisor while I was there, and she is the division finance officer. She has 5 finance managers reporting to her. They are Carla Lunan, Kim Hansen, Melissa Griffey, Jeff Brethorst, and Michael Williams. And these 5 managers all report directly to Jackie Hansen, and I was able to work with them in different ways. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I did a 4-section rotation over the course of the summer, spending 2 to 3 weeks under each different manager. So the first program I worked under was Kimberly Hansen's program in the large billing projects, billing and disbursements. And basically a lot of what I did was fill in gaps. With the telecommunication industry, you find they found an explosion basically of the need for telecommunications infrastructure. So building these 4G networks is a lot of what they're doing for the large service brand name providers. And basically, I was helping to solve the problems that they had never experienced before because of the such huge explosion of telecommunication demand. These include things like check request processing, packing slip creation, system management updating. These were all things to help keep the financial flow up to speed with the engineering flow that we had on the ground. The next section I worked for was Melissography and forecasting. This part of my rotation had to do a lot with meeting very tight deadlines. Forecasting is very important and it's very complex at Black & Veatch. It requires a lot of cross-functional collaboration and a lot of cross-divisional collaboration. Also, it's important to note that each division is actually evaluated on their forecasting by the corporate headquarters. And so these are all deadlines that need to be met, and they need to be met accurately. So I provided for the forecast review meetings the at-a-glance creations, project model updating, accounts receivable reports, and quarterly projections that would eventually be seen by the division president and then sent over to corporate to be viewed by the actual chief financial officer of the company. And then our division would then be evaluated on the performance of meeting these forecasts, creating new objectives, and being accurate in meeting the forecast that they set for themselves. The third rotation that I was on, and actually the most challenging, was small programs project accounting under Jeff Breathhorse. And he was a great manager at challenging his team. He had a very tight-knit team. They were all very high aptitude, highly intelligent people, and they produced very professional work. And a lot of what I did for them was we had a project that our client had lost their funding on, and we had to go back through historical finances and recoup lost funds. And so a lot of what I was preparing was stuff that was going to be seen by the client and going to be evaluated and looked at as a way to explain why we still had open purchase orders for them, why we still had open invoices, in a way that made sense, in a way that communicated clearly our position and where we stood with them. That's fine. Okay, so a few other notable accomplishments that I was able to achieve while I was there was that I was able to meet the governor. Governor Brownback of Kansas came to do a ceremonial bill signing to increase funding in our state schools for engineering programs, to help support the great demand that Kansas has for engineering. It's a huge industry in that state. I was also, while I was there, able to have lunch with the CFO, which not a lot of interns were able to do. I attended a corporate-wide finance meeting, and at the end of it, she asked for questions, and nobody wanted to ask anything, so I piped up and I challenged her on some of her ideas for strategic growth. And we made light of it and joked a little bit, and about a week later I got an email from her asking me if I would like to go to lunch with her and discuss some of my plans for growth for the company. And so it was great for me meeting with the CFO in the industry that I'm interested in finance, and share ideas, and also to receive some advice about career opportunities. Also, something else that I did, we were assigned by the HR staff at the beginning of the summer a final presentation to work on with other interns in the company. And they were interns from different geographical locations, different offices, and I took a leadership role in collaborating us and building a vision for the presentation that I thought turned out to be very well. And at the end of the summer, we presented this to the board of officers, also the HR staff, and the other interns. So besides those three things, I was able to get the opportunity of ample networking. I was able to transfer my internships for UD credits, and I was offered continued employment after graduation. So overall, I thought that it was a very good internship, mutual benefit, both for me, for my personal growth, and also I found that I was put into a position where I could make meaningful contributions to the company. So a few of the things that I learned while I was there, I learned a lot of tangible things, technical skills, personal skills, networking, corporate procedures and structure, a lot of corporate functions versus divisional functions, and things of that sort. But also a lot of what I learned was somewhat unexpected in realizing the culture of a company and more of the company virtue. You learn very quickly that a good company, at least I believe, promotes the idea that you are not individual islands within a company. You are there in a team, you work as a team, and you're supposed to be relational with the people that you work with. You're supposed to build these relationships and work together in a culture that's inclusive, that's meaningful, that's purposeful, and that empowers their employees. And so I was able to work in that environment, and to me, that's something that I'm going to take away, I know, to my later career opportunities and also day-to-day life. So that is how I'd like to conclude this presentation. I have to leave you with a safety tip in the Black and Veatch manner. Walking safely down the UD Mall as it pertains to you. If you are aware, the mall is basically one big uneven surfaces, so beware of those. Avoid skateboarding on the bricked areas. Some people get away with it, I'm not sure how. Always watch where you're going. Don't wear ridiculously high-heeled shoes, and try not to dance to music on the mall. You should avoid that at all costs. So hopefully, if you follow those tips, you will be able to spare yourself a sprained ankle. So that is my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll address them now.